AITAH for being angry with my husband for playing video games. I didn't realize something was wrong until the night our smoke alarm went off. It was 2:14 a.m. and the entire apartment was filled with that piercing, metallic scream that makes your heart jump into your throat. I bolted out of bed, adrenaline surging, and sprinted toward the kitchen, terrified that something was burning. But nothing was burning. The stove was off, the oven was cool, the air was clean, and then I saw it, the cord. A small black cable stretching from the wall, across the living room carpet, all the way into the closed office door. A soft blue light flickered underneath. It wasn't smoke, it was steam, from the ramen cup he had abandoned on his gaming desk 6 hours earlier. The boiling water had evaporated entirely, and the cup had scorched itself onto the wood, setting off the alarm. My husband didn't hear a thing. He had noise-canceling headphones on, leaning so close to the screen that the blue light carved shadows under his eyes. His fingers flew over the keyboard. He didn't look away from the game even when I opened the door. "Leo," I whispered, trembling. "The smoke alarm." He didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't move. I stood there, frozen, watching my husband fade into a stranger lit only by the glow of a digital world. That was the exact moment I realized I had lost him. Not to another woman, not to drugs, not to depression, but to a game. Our beginning was nothing like this. Leo wasn't always like this. When we met 5 years ago, he was vibrant, funny, present. He noticed details, the way my hands shook when I was nervous, the way my voice softened when I talked about things I loved. We could talk for hours, fall asleep mid-conversation, wake up laughing the next morning. He was my best friend, my safe place, my person. He played video games back then too, but it was different. A hobby, a stress reliever, something he did for an hour or two here and there. But 6 months ago, something shifted. He found a new online game, a massively immersive, endless fantasy world, and it became his everything. At first, I didn't mind. I wanted him to relax, unwind, to have fun. I'd curl up on the couch with a book while he played, feeling content just being near him. But 1 hour became 3, 3 became 5, 5 became 8. And soon, the game wasn't something he did. It was something he lived. It started with missing dinners. He'd forget dinner was ready, forget promises, forget conversations. One night, I cooked his favorite, homemade lasagna, and he said he'd come out after one more match. I ate alone. The lasagna grew cold. He never came out. At midnight, he finally appeared, eyes glassy, movements robotic. "Was dinner good?" he asked. I stared at him. "You didn't even try it." He blinked, confused. "All right. Sorry. You should have reminded me." A piece of me cracked. Since when did I become someone who needed to remind her own husband to show up? Then he started forgetting me. He'd forget what I told him minutes after I said it. Forget date nights. Forget that we used to do things together. Hiking, cooking, watching movies, taking late-night drives with the windows down. He'd forget to ask how my day was. Forget to look at me. Forget that marriage isn't supposed to feel like living with a roommate who doesn't know your birthday. When I tried talking to him about it, he waved it off. "Babe, it's just a phase. Everyone games. It's normal. I'm fine." But I wasn't fine, and neither was our marriage. The night everything broke, it happened last Sunday. We were supposed to go visit his parents, a plan we'd made 2 weeks earlier. I got dressed, did my makeup, even prepared a dessert to bring. At noon, when he still hadn't come out of his gaming room, I went to check on him. He was in the same position he'd been in at 2 a.m. Headset on, eyes locked on the screen, completely absorbed. "Leo," I said gently. "We need to leave in an hour." He didn't hear me. I tried again and again. Finally, I touched his shoulder. He jerked away like I had shocked him. "God, can you not touch me while I'm in combat?" He snapped. My heart dropped. I stood there, staring at the man who once kissed me every morning before work, who used to pull me into his arms like I was home. "I'm your wife," I whispered. "You're shouting at me because of a game." He rolled his eyes. "I'm not shouting. You're being dramatic. Can I please just finish this? You're stressing me out." I walked out of the room shaking, and then I heard it. His voice from behind the door. "She's so annoying, man. She gets mad over everything." I don't know if he was talking to teammates or himself, but it didn't matter, because that was the moment something inside me snapped. I left. I didn't scream, didn't pack a suitcase, didn't leave a dramatic note. I just put on my coat, grabbed my keys, and walked out of the apartment. My hands were trembling. My chest felt tight. My eyes were burning. I drove to my sister's house and sat in her driveway for 20 minutes before I could even knock. When she opened the door, I broke down completely. Ugly, crying, shaking, barely breathing. She held me without asking questions. And when I finally choked out the story, the smoke alarm, the dinners, the shouting, the neglect, she said the words I had been terrified to ask myself. You aren't crazy. You aren't dramatic. You're lonely. Lonely in a marriage where my husband was alive, present just down the hall, but gone. Gone into a world where I couldn't follow him. The next morning when Leo realized I wasn't home, he panicked. He called 20 times, left messages, sent long texts. Where are you? I didn't mean to snap. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. I love you. Please come home. I didn't answer. He wasn't sorry because he understood. He was sorry because I finally stopped chasing him. Am I the a-hole? Am I wrong for being angry? For leaving? For wanting a husband who looks at me instead of a screen? I don't want to control him. I don't want him to stop gaming entirely. I just want to exist in his life again. I want a partner, not a ghost, not a roommate, not someone who chooses a virtual world over the woman who shares his bed. I want the man I married. But I don't know if he's still there. For the next several days, the house felt like it existed in two different dimensions. In one of them was me moving silently, washing dishes, preparing dinner, brushing my hair in the bathroom mirror while trying not to look at the closed office door. In the other dimension was my husband, Evan, laughing into his headset, calling out commands to teammates, tapping furiously on his keyboard while soft blue LED lights lit up the room, like some distant galaxy I could never enter. I told myself not to care. I told myself I wasn't going to be that wife who micromanaged hobbies. I repeated it like a mantra. But despite all the self-talk, every time I heard the sudden burst of laughter from behind that door, something tugged at me. Something small, sharp, and humiliating. I wasn't jealous of the game. I wasn't even jealous of the people he played with. I was jealous of the version of him they got, focused, energetic, fully present. A version I hadn't seen in weeks. One evening, I knocked on the office door. Yeah, he called, not turning his head. Dinner is ready, I said. Okay, it'll be there in a bit. That bit stretched into 40 minutes. By the time he came out, the food was cold. He apologized, heating it in the microwave like it was nothing. He kissed my cheek casually, distractedly. Sorry, babe, we were about to win. You know how it is. But I didn't know how it is. I only knew how it felt. The next day, I came home early from work. I wasn't expecting anything dramatic. Maybe I just wanted to surprise him, spend a quiet afternoon together. I wanted something normal and easy. Something that would convince me I was imagining everything. Instead, I walked into the sound of his voice, excited, animated. Except this time it wasn't in game. It was in voice chat. With someone who sounded not like a stranger. A soft, female voice on his headset, laughing at something he said. A laugh I hadn't heard from him in a long time. Hold on, I think my wife just got home, he said into the mic. His tone was strangely light, almost apologetic. My chest tightened. I walked into the room. He smiled. Hey, babe. I stared at the headset. Who's that? He blinked, a little too quickly. Just a friend from the guild. You've heard me talk about her. I hadn't. For the rest of the evening, I felt a strange buzzing under my skin. I was angry, but it wasn't only anger. It was something deeper. Something like loss. Was I losing him to a video game? To a stranger, or to a version of himself that I hadn't been important enough to reach? The next morning, I tried to talk to him. Evan, I feel like we're drifting apart. He sighed the way people sigh when their phone battery dies. We're fine. You're overthinking. But I wasn't. I felt it as clearly as breath on my neck. That night, I woke up at 3:17 a.m. to find the bed empty. I wandered through the dark hallway, already knowing where he was. The blue glow was seeping under the office door like mist. He was gaming again, laughing again, talking to her again. And this time, something inside me snapped, not in anger, but in clarity. I realized that what hurt wasn't the gaming. It wasn't even the lack of attention. It was the slow, intentional shift of effort from our marriage into a world where I no longer existed. I stood silently in the doorway, listening to him talk so easily, so comfortably, to someone who wasn't me. And for the first time, I wondered whether the problem wasn't that he played too many games. Maybe the problem was that he no longer played at loving me. The next morning, I didn't slam doors. I didn't accuse him. I didn't cry. I simply walked into the kitchen, placed a cup of coffee in front of him, and said quietly, "We need to talk, and this time you're going to listen." Evan looked up, surprised. Maybe it was my tone, calm, steady, almost clinical. The tone of someone who had finally reached the end of pretending. "What's going on?" he asked. I sat down. "Last night, you were online until almost 4. He grimaced. "Babe, look, I know I've been playing a lot, but..." "No," I said. "You don't get to minimize this anymore." The silence that followed was different from all the times before. He wasn't distracted. He wasn't glancing at his phone or his PC. He was finally looking directly at me. "Evan, I feel like I'm disappearing from our marriage. Not because of the game itself, but because you give the best version of you to a screen. To other people, and I get whatever is left." His shoulders tensed. For the first time, guilt flickered in his eyes. "And the woman you were talking to last night," I added softly. "You were laughing with her in a way you haven't laughed with me in months." That hit him like a slap. He opened his mouth, closed it, then rubbed his face with both hands. "She's just a friend," he muttered. "But yeah, I've been an asshole." A long pause, then another. Finally, he whispered, "I didn't realize how far I'd gone." I waited. "I guess the game became an escape," he said. "Work has been hell, and every time we had small arguments, I felt like I was failing. So I hid where things were easy, where people didn't expect anything, where I didn't feel judged." That hurt, but I didn't interrupt. "But you're right," he said firmly. "I haven't been here. Not really. And I'm sorry. I don't want to lose you." I felt something shift, relief, fear, a tentative hope. "What now?" I asked. He took a deep breath. "I'll take a break from the game, a real one, a month, maybe longer, and I'll message her not in a rude way, but to set boundaries." He looked at me, eyes clear for the first time in weeks. "But I need you to be honest too. Tell me when you're hurting. Don't swallow it until it explodes." That was fair. I nodded slowly. "I can do that." We sat together, the silence finally warm instead of cold. For the first time in a long time, it felt like we were on the same side. Later that evening, when he unplugged his gaming PC and placed the headset aside, he turned to me with a small, uncertain smile. "Do you want to go for a walk? Maybe get ice cream, like we used to?" I felt something bloom in my chest, gentle, fragile, alive. "Yes," I said. "I'd like that." As we stepped outside, I realized something important. The problem had never been the video game